Welcome to this Jadu Customer Showcase video. I'm Lee, Jadu's resident video maker, and I'm here to show you some of the work that the team at Harrow Council have been doing with their My Account functionality. Now it's clear any service becomes way more valuable once I'm signed in, whether it's my film and TV streaming service, my pensions, insurance services. Once I'm signed in, once I'm authenticated, that service becomes way more valuable, almost invaluable. Now the team at Harrow are going to be showing you work they've already done, including PCM payments, bulky waste, bin collections and housing integrations. Plus they're going to be showing you what they're going to be working on for the next 6 to 9 months, and this includes sharing with you their vision. Essentially, Harrow recognise the potential of Jadu widgets to leverage the power of signals, to take website personalisation and user-aware content to the next level, expanding My Account interactions outside of the single page, the My Account page. Signals are basically a toolbox that allows you to hook into user data, so everything we know about a user can be captured and stored as a signal. A web page then uses these signals to decide on what content to show that user. Anyway, I digress. All the topics will be time-stamped in the description below, so should you wish to come back and rewatch the video, you can jump to a specific topic. If you found this video interesting, then please give it a like and consider subscribing to the Jadu channel. And now, over to the team at Harrow.
So with the PCM widget, so the penalty charge notice,
the single most heavily used online form.
One of our user challenges was the clarity of the photos and also the HR number. You used to have to enter a penalty charge notice number as well as the license plate. So the user would put in their license plate and the widget here would surface any sort of PCN that's related to that license plate, and it would tell you whether it's paid or if it's due. So if you pick the one that's due, the traffic information will be highlighted here very clearly. The key things we wanted to do was clarity of the photographs, but they used to be really skewed and really distorted. And of course, that will impact whether people decided whether they actually wanted to challenge it or actually pay it. So this is actually making the service a lot more black and white.
Yeah, there's also a full screen view of the photos if you need to see them in more detail.
We can display what kind of car it is as well, not just show them pictures. The integrations we built are using a tool we were originally using for GIS and data processing called FME.
If you are logged into your MyHarrow account when you go to the forms, that will automatically pre-populate with the details from your account as well. So then it would just be all about payment.
Have you seen a drop-off in challenges because everything is now super clear?
We have actually seen a drop-off in challenges. We've seen about a 14% change in reduction in the number of challenges, which is big.
Quite an emotional service. We just wanted to make sure in terms of design and capability and functionality, it's very clear call to actions, very easy to understand traffic offence descriptions, and just trying to get them in and out of this service as quick as possible. On our bins page, so this is the bins landing page. One of the feedback points that we got from our residents was that it was very useful, but it was quite hard to find it. Actually, this widget was the very first that we designed with a view to roll out the same kind of design principle across the website. We reached out to 100 residents via a survey, and then we did some hands-on user testing to come up with this design, which is all based on YouTube and Instagram. And what we want to do, like a touch-based app-first kind of design, big target buttons, very elaborate call to actions, a lot of account information into one section. So how it works is you put in the postcode and then it will bring back some addresses. So what you can see from the bins page is by default it lands on this week, and it will show you your collection day and bins that are being collected on that day. And each bin has its own call to action where it's got related transactions to do with that bin. You're able to view last week's, the following week's.
And again, all this information is retrieved direct from Bartek through the integrations that Sam and Paul have built.
We also partnered with eCal. Once you're logged in, if you wanted to download your household waste and your garden waste to a device of your choosing, you can do. If I wanted to put it onto my iPhone, I'd select Apple. You put in your telephone number or your email address, or if you're actually doing this on your device, it will sync it straight onto your native calendar and it will provide you updates about when to put out what bin on what day.
There's lots going on in the background, but you try and make the UIs as straightforward as possible for the resident. It's the FME integrations that have been built that powers this.
If you have a garden waste subscription, your subscription information will pop up here. So this was a very high demand feature from our residents. There's also general inquiry transactions to do with your bins and bookings. So if you wanted to book a slot at the recycling centre or a bulky waste collection, for example.
So we've done some things that are like big things, like integrations to the line of business system, but there's lots of smaller things that improve the quality of the website and the experience across the website. So I'm always impressed by this one.
So you need to have an account to book a bulky waste collection. We set out the expectations here that you need an account. The user will sign in and it will redirect you back to that page and give you further information about how you continue to book a bulky waste collection. So as you can see, it takes the name, takes your address from the account. And we've added in these checklist design here to make, you'll see it across our website now. Purple boxes denote information that's good to know. The green sections denote where it's like a call to action and what you need to transact. So now that I've logged in, it tells me what I need. You can then go on to book a bulky waste collection. And this is where it takes you off to Zipporah, who handle all of this.
We want to get people signed into the website more and utilise that sign-in to personalise content. What we're trying to build in these individual projects is things that we can then repeat across other services. So you can start to see that personalisation of the CMS based on the information from the account is going to be so powerful for other services as we repeat it in those areas.
That's correct. And then the resident will go on to book their bulky waste collection and the management of that. So they can pick their items, whatever that may be, and that's confirming what's being picked up, when it's being picked up, the address, and then if you need to pay for it, it will take you onto the payment system, and the management of that appointment is then via the email that you receive.
Just coming back to the simple things, the checklist you've seen in the bulky waste box, that evolved from customer feedback too, because a lot of people were saying that they were starting to do forms and then they were realising halfway through the form that they needed X, Y, and Z and they didn't have it to hand. So they were abandoning the forms. It's a little feature, but people know where they stand up front, what they need in order to complete the transaction.
Sounds like a small thing, but it opens up a whole realm of opportunities because it's reusable for future developments. This is an example of our, like the bin widget, but it's for housing. So it's using the same design principles. And this demo is on a mobile. This is an example of a council tenant who has an account and they've logged in. Once they come to the housing landing page, they'll be presented with this first tab here, which shows their address. It shows their tenancy information, all through from Civica, their household information, who lives in their house, dates of birth, etc. Their housing officers. And if they live in an estate, it will show them the estate information there. They'll also have ways that they can manage their tenancies. Related transactions to their tenancy will be down there. Going across the tab along the top, they'll be able to see their rent balance. So they'll be able to see if their account is in credit or debit. They'll see their usual weekly rent amount. So this is all information that's being pulled through CX, and their rent payment number. And along with a little feature there where they can copy a reference number. For some instances where we can't auto-populate a payment form, that's where that will come in handy, where you can copy the payment number, make a rent payment, and then just paste their rent payment number in the payment form there. Once you scroll down, you'll be able to see their successful payments and the dates that they were made, how they were made, and how they can view their statements. So this is just an example of us trying to pull through as much valuable information as possible from a third-party system, which will prevent them from having to go to that system. Moving along the top, this is the biggest area of concern here for users, is the booking a repair system. So trying to integrate a very complex kind of spreadsheet of things that you can report as a repair. So for example, if you select one of these, it will then pull down the lower list. So you select your repair category, select your repair type, and then select what actually needs fixing. And each one of these, what needs fixing, has its own SLA, has its own way of how the repair team or contractor will react to that. So for example, cold tap leaking, contractor will be contacted and it will take approximately 5 days. If it's something else like a broken fence panel, we may need an inspection first, and that's where we set expectations and change the SLA there. If it's something like water spurting out, it's an emergency repair, we then basically give them a dead end. You can't continue online. You need to call the repairs team ASAP. Moving on to my repairs along the top, once they've reported a repair, they'll be able to track it. So leaky faucet, report was received. We'll give them set some expectations about what they can do next, and date reported. If they live in a estate, we can also populate the communal repairs. So one of the things is we want to prevent neighbours in estates reporting the same issue. So they'll be able to see here communal repairs, and these are repairs below that other residents in that estate have reported. So they will surface those, and you'll be able to track those as well, when the scheduled visit is, the time, and the reference.
So it's a single sign-on. So the Civica CX system has a tenant portal, which we seen at the very beginning. We weren't particularly blown away by it, and because we were going down this path of bringing everything onto our website and trying not to, send residents off into various other systems that look very different, we decided that we wanted to enable the single sign-on, and then we get this contact ID back from CX, and we use that. Then it's kind of the key to opening everything in the CX system. So Saeed on Sam's team then has been starting to build these web services. So he's on the Rent one at the moment and able to pull all those back from the CX system via FME. And the report or repair one is the same. That's us putting something into FME. So we'll be able to, once customer reports the repair, we'll be able to put it into CX directly, and it will be able to raise the job directly with the contractor. So we're cutting out quite a chunk of our call centre having to answer calls and put them through on the system, because at the moment the form just comes in and it's quite manual. You have to enter it up. So it will hopefully help on that side too. So it's FME, using FME to manage those integrations.
We underestimate how complex housing is compared to any other council service. It's managing so much stuff. It's managing properties as an asset. It's managing customer accounts in terms of the tenant. It has more complexities and variables in it than any other council service by quite a long way.
As we go further with this, there's always going to be other iterations. I think we'll be pushing the boundaries even more.
We are going through a rebrand, so the new logo, and also an opportunity to just refresh the website a little bit. So this is an example of what it could look like going forward. So you can see it's an updated header, going for a more streamlined colour scheme. So we wanted to create one journey and one seamless experience across our third-party sites such as Capita. Last month we had about 90,000 logins into our personal account. The appetite is there. This is an example of how we'd like the users to authenticate. So they select the account button, there'll be a slide down, so it's not actually taking you anywhere. The user would log in and it will refresh them on the page that they're on. And as you can see, the tiles here go from top tasks to actually the accounts that they have associated to them. So for example, the bins page, where actually if I click that, it will take me to the bins page. I don't need to put my address in there because it's pulling from the account. Same thing with housing. So if you were to go to housing, I don't need to log in because I'm already logged in. And that's the kind of approach that we're taking. So with council tax benefits, it's going to have a similar kind of holistic widget on each of those pages. Once I go to that page, I'm logged in straight away. It's one seamless journey. On top of that, you'll see a banner. So it'll come through with my name. So morning, afternoon, evening name, and then my account. And that's a global aspect. So that'll be on every single page on the website once you're logged in. If you select that, again, a slide down will come through. On the left-hand side, it will have the accounts that you have linked to your Capita account. So for example, these are the accounts that I have on my Capita. The option to link an account, which will take you into Capita. So for some things you have to go into Capita for. So you can link an account and it will show up here. Once you've linked it, you can edit your account details. Again, that has to be done through Capita, so that'll take you to Capita. You can sign out. The bit in the middle, which is another big driver of ours, is the status tracking. So that's pulling together all of the service requests, whether it be a report, an application, a booking, or an order. That's pulling all of those through into one central location where you can track it, see the status of it, and follow it up. So if it's a report or a application, you can follow it up. If it's an order, you can order it again, potentially. If it's a recycling centre booking session, you can book another session there. And we're looking to see if we can, rather than just take us to the page, if it can pre-populate with the details you previously entered. Things like that, just to make it seamless. We're going to look at analytics to see if people actually want this, but on the right hand side we're thinking about putting in recently visited pages or pages that are related to the transactions that you have completed. In order to log out, you can either log out here and then sign out, and then of course the resident is back on the home page. We are looking at doing, if you go to report fly tipping, for example, I'm logged out. Currently, this is the document page for report fly tipping. We want there to be some sort of feature to say you can enhance your experience on this page if you sign in. So if you were to sign in, again, it won't take you anywhere. It will refresh the page and potentially show you a.
Okay, so you're saying a supplement that only appears if you're not logged in.
If we sign out and we would go to, let's just go to an example of the housing page. So I'm logged out. So here is an example of the prompt to basically say, sign in, enhance your experience on this page. Overlay will come up. You'll sign in, and instead of taking you to the home page, it will just refresh the page you're on. And I think that's one of the things we want to do is we want to authenticate, but also show instant value in authenticating, which is something that we're not currently able to do.
And I think that new login is kind of the last thing that will come because we're building everything. There needs to be enough on the website to justify it, because once we flip it over, it's the new kind of overlay one. Yeah. We need to make sure we've got enough of the personalization on the website before we make that final change.
Hopefully, I know we've shown lots of stuff that is concepts. It's a logical journey from the things that we built that are on the website. We're reusing components from that. I think Sam, Paul and Tarek have done an amazing job in creating things that are reusable, that can be built on top of each other. And hopefully it seems it's credible where we're going in the end, that that user-centric journey based around you being logged into the website is achievable because of all these other blocks that have gone there. And it's ambitious, but I think I don't see any reason why this won't be, in that 12 months time, harrow.gov.uk will be looking like what we've shown there. Then we took a decision not to be beholden to a lot of other third parties, and it's the individuals that have powered this. We put a lot of our heart and soul, probably across all of us, into this.